Today we are talking about how improving self-image can decrease people-pleasing. My name is Amy Ballantyne. Welcome to Power to the People Pleasers. I'm so excited to have my guest Kyle Smith here. Welcome, Kyle.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I'm really excited for this conversation today. When we first connected, I was like, this guy has really cool energy. Uh, the photo you sent in, I think, is entitled "The Mountain Man." I love it. So I'm excited for our discussion today. And I was on your website reading through some of your testimonials there, so I can tell that you're making a real difference for people, and that makes me excited to be able to be with you this morning to have this conversation. But before we dig in, as I always do on Power to the People Pleasers, I would love to know, have you ever been a people pleaser? And if so, how did it show up in your life?
Uh, yes, I would also say that I think a majority of people have been a people pleaser at some point in time after that question, because I definitely recognize times when I have been a people pleaser and times that I have not been a people pleaser. And the way that my people pleasing came up, it is interesting actually. So let's say, for example, fitting in. Uh, I moved around quite a bit when I was a kid. And with that, I became very efficient at adopting a consistent theme among a friend group. So, for example, when I first moved from New Brunswick to Alberta, I went to a school, and it was my only year in elementary for this one. Then it went into junior high, so it was grade 6-ish, and there was a group of fellas that were there, and they're all into motocross and ATVs and dirt bikes and stuff. And I was not. Yet, for some odd reason, people pleasing to fit in, I ended up with like some Fox like t-shirts, like the brand for motocross. I would go into the stores in like the mall, and it would be motocross esque, which is not something that I was I was really involved in. I think riding motorcycles is freaking sweet, and I think it's a lot of fun. However, I wasn't in it, especially at that age. So people pleasing would manifest itself commonly due to me wanting to no, me behaving as a chameleon rather than my authentic self.
Mm,
There we go.
wow, that was
There we go.
juicy.
Yeah.
That was really
It was popping
juicy.
up, and then it just zoomed right in my brain. I'm like, "Yup, we're saying that one." And
Oh,
so that's
behaving as a chameleon. Wow,
yeah.
yeah. I feel like that's a pretty consistent theme that I've heard in these discussions, and I appreciate you sharing a very real experience in your life. And it's interesting to me how, when I ask this question, many people go back in time to their childhood
Mhm.
to pull out when people pleasing was the biggest challenge for them. Very few people have mentioned people pleasing in their current stage, which that's just an interesting
Mm.
notice there. Interesting notice.
That is a good one. To I'll I'll explore that one for a second because that's interesting.
Mhm.
So let's say more recent one. Let's see. I can't recall the last time that I was in a state of people pleasing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I can't recall the last time. Now that you said that, because I did go back to childhood, so I was trying to find something more up to date,
Well, that's
and
great to
yeah,
hear,
it is.
Kyle.
It is. It is good. I went from the way I'll actually put it. This is cool. I went from people pleasing to person pleasing. I
Mm,
just went from a projection to a reflection. I went
okay.
inwards rather than outwards.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about
Sure.
that. Yeah. So expand. You went in the moment into that state, or in life. Tell me more.
With that part in particular, I would
Mm-hmm.
define it as a practice
Mm.
because to please others is also a practice. To please ourselves is also a practice.
Mm.
And it's about prioritizing which one is going to bring you what you truly want, not what is said to want. So people may want friends because everybody has friends and will hang around shitty friends and become a shitty person because we will become and adopt similar stories and behaviors and mannerisms as the people we spend time with.
Yeah.
So for myself, I'm very content in my solitude, and I say solitude rather than alone
Mhm.
because I don't actually ever feel alone. I don't sense that aloneness. So that's why I call it solitude instead.
Yeah.
And so when with those two differences, I would say that when it comes to person pleasing, it's taking an exploration internally to figure out what the not figure out, maybe it's not figure out, it's figure out what, okay, yeah. It's figuring out what stories in the moment resonate and what stories to reject.
Mm.
And then when we go to the other side, where we go more participatory, where we're actively participating in life and we are people person pleasing, then what happens is we have a stronger filter to decide where we want to go. And to decide, decide in Latin is decadere. And decadere, translated from Latin to English, is to kill off.
Mhm.
So a decision is to kill off one option in order for the other option to live.
Wow.
So yeah, that's how I
I
would
love
probably
that.
break that down.
Oh, so okay. Was there a point in time when you went from people pleasing to person pleasing, and was there a catalyst that happened for you, or was
Mhm.
this a gradual transition in your life?
I would say gradual.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were some of these filters that you use along this gradual transition?
Uh, One of the things, so this is going to go externally based first.
Hmm.
First thing I started with is taking inventory in the people I spend time with
Mm.
and recognizing why I'm with them. Because there could be a possibility where you could have a friend for a long time and you don't want to not have that friend because you've been friends for so long, which is a fallacy. It's a sunk cost fallacy. It is, I don't want to give this up because I invested so much time in it, even though it treats me like shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So inventory and the people that I spend time with. Another thing, so it's more future casting, is who are the people that I want to spend time with? Because I would say that out of my friend group, I'm likely the most ambitious. And so I have different categories of different friends to be able to build me up. Because the focus
Mm.
going internally now, the focus is building myself up. And if
Mm.
I'm not building myself up and participating in that, then what happens is other people are building us up.
Mm.
So if we're not mindful of how am I building myself and how are others building me up, then we're unconsciously going around adopting whatever beliefs, mannerisms, simply to feel included, which
Yeah.
inclusion has a price. And I don't think many people think of the price they pay to be included.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There are so many nuggets here. I appreciate you labeling solitude versus alone. And I really appreciate you talking about who, I'm paraphrasing now myself, but
Sure.
who are you allowing to build you up? Is it yourself or is it others? Who are you allowing into this space? And I'd love, as we're talking about improving self-image as our main topic today, to decrease this people pleasing, can you share some strategies that you've used internally to build yourself up?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with a couple things. I'll go with a couple things. One thing I would start with is what is self image and identity?
Yeah.
And I put both of those within the category of mindset because I define mindset as the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves or our opinion of ourselves.
Mm.
And so if we improve the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, or if we have a higher rather than lesser opinion of ourselves, then our identity and our self-image is going to improve based off of that passively as a side effect of the thing. Because I
Mhm.
think that people want the side effects before they do the thing, but you got to do the thing before you get the side effects.
Of course. They want the quick fix always, right?
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
wanted to start with that because people understand that mindset is important. However, I think that there is, in my opinion, in my personal flavor, I don't think that there is uh I think there is more ambiguity behind what mindset is. So some folks could say, "Oh, I'm really working on my mindset." What does that mean? "Oh, I'm working on improving my mindset." What are you doing? Uh, I really want to improve that mindset or my self image. What does that look like? And so there's that ambiguity. If you can ask a question after a statement, then and it's unclear, then it's not solid enough. So that brings me into the second part that I would go with that helps improve identity and self image. And I'll explain why on the other end. And it's removing soft talk and replacing it with solid talk. So, soft talk, ambiguous, unclear; solid talk, clear and defined. So, an example of a soft talk sentence: I might make it to the party for 5 p.m. I'm probably going to make it to the party for 5 p.m. I could make it to the party for 5 p.m. I should make it to the party for 5 p.m. I kind of want to make it to the party for 5 p.m. Maybe I'll make it to the party for 5 p.m. Now, if you can ask a question after a statement is not solid enough, are you or are you not making it to the party for 5 p.m.? So it's soft talk. Now, all it takes is a translation. Translations is where we take a lead story and turn it into a golden story. We take something that's harmful and turn it into something that's helpful. So when we have this ambiguity, this indecisiveness, our self-image is not going to benefit because we are not competent and we don't trust ourselves to make decisions because we're stuck in this limbo of indecision. Because indecision, like, there's a lot of decisions that someone can make. However, I think when they prioritize their decisions, actually not even prioritize their decisions, prioritize their outcomes, then the decisions in the present become easier because you have a reference point.
Mhm.
So now remove solid or soft talk. I'm going to make it to the party for 5 p.m. Simple. Or that's one option. I'm not going to make it to the party, period. And that's okay. And then the third one is I'm undecided. Let me go check my calendar. So in that last one, I think that's the point where that 33% out of those three, that 33% is allocated to soft talk. When people use soft talk 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And so when we have that solid talk, I'm going to make it to the party for 5 p.m. What happens is we make a decision. And I call these microdoses of decisions. When we make those small decisions, eventually over time, we build up the skill to make decisions. We're able to kill off decisions that that does not resonate with where we want to go. And we develop competence. And as a side effect of competence, we have confidence. And as a side effect of confidence, we have courage. And
Mhm.
so if we can make small decisions, we can make the big decisions a lot easier. If someone can't make the small decisions as to whether or not they're going to a party for 5 p.m., or if they're wishy-washy, or they're waiting until the last minute to cancel, in my opinion, that's uh, as a practitioner of decision making, in my opinion, that is disrespectful. I think that if there's soft talk, that's disrespect. I don't want people talking softly to me. I want people to speak with solidity. I'm going to say solidity.
Why not? Yeah.
And so that would be the thing where it's the core basis. And then the third thing I would go with on that one is what are the words that we're saying and
Yeah.
what are the stories we're telling ourselves?
Man, that so many things to unpack there. Thank you for sharing that. Um, I have a lot of notes. So it's where do I want to go from there? I really liked when we're looking at this idea of improving our self-image, how you went from competence to confidence to courage. And so often we hear people say things like, as you said, I'm working on my self-image and I want to be, let's say they want to be more confident. Well, how are you doing this? I really like that you walked through how our stories, because I'm really big on this, the language we're using is quite an indicator of what we're thinking about ourselves and the action that we then take. So I'd love if you can share a little bit more. Is there This was internally the process to improve self-image. Is there an external component for this as well?
Oh yeah. Ooh. Okay, I'm
Ooh,
thinking I'm thinking of this one on the fly.
awesome.
So, okay, what would I say to a client if I was chatting with them now? I just wanted to breathe into that one to get a feel.
Love it.
So I already said take inventory in the people you spend time with.
Mhm.
Take inventory of your environment, the environment that you live in, and the space. Look into the content that you're checking out on the computer or the internet. Yeah, because you can have uh, how would I put this? I heard a term that was really cool with this. It would be similar to an information diet
Mm,
because when we're listening to something, we're not giving ourselves enough time to think about our thinking.
mm.
And what we're listening to or watching is going to influence our opinions or perceptions. And
Yeah.
so if we're always just like watching things that are negative or do not align with our particular values, or we just want to feel something, because people that are indecisive and living an ambiguous life, they're going to watch things in order to feel something
Mm.
rather than living and feeling. It's
Mm.
adopting the feels of another person. And so it's like, yeah, that's interesting. It's similar to, do I want to say that? I'll put it nicely on this one. It's similar to corn. And I
Okay.
don't mean the band, and I don't mean the vegetable. And I don't mean the letter C.
Okay.
More like an MNO, you know?
Yeah, okay.
And I think it'd be similar to that, where it's not living it, it's living through it. It's living in a third party perspective. It's not living first person.
Yeah.
And so decrease the procrastination.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that would be, so inventory of friends, inventory of environment, inventory of the content consumed,
Yeah.
and then I don't know why I'm looking around my room trying to think of something. Invi- even though it's even though it's still internal, I'll still put it as an external practice. Write
Mm.
down regular narratives or the
Mm.
things that are said. Take it from the brain and put it on paper. So that
Yes.
way it's external.
Yes. Okay. You've shared a lot of nuggets here today. A lot of strategies that I love it. For people listening, you just gave me a double thumbs up. Um, I wanted to also give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about neuro-linguistic somatic experience. What does that mean for people who've never heard of it? How does what you do with that work relate to helping someone improve their self-image?
Ooh, love it. So NLSE is a practice that I designed that is an amalgamation between story work and breath work. It is an outcomes focused practice rather than a problems focused practice. And it's a top-down approach. So we start with the words, so the neuro, then we start with the stories, then we go with the breath. So neuro-linguistic somatic experience, going top to bottom, neuro, meaning of the mind, mindset. I already explained mindset. It also goes into the nervous system of the body. And the nervous system is where we can hold a lot of our emotional stories. Those ones that hurt, haunt, taunt, the ones that are joyful, are happy memories, because you can think of it and you can feel it. So the brain, the story comes up, or some people just remember the story because they like to suffer. That's cool. And actually, okay, I'm gonna say something that someone I worked with, she said this, and I was like, "What? That is so awesome!" And I'm like, "That is such a cool reflection," because we were talking about something that she was not really struggling with, and the reflection or the realization she had, she's like, "You know what? Maybe I just have a shame kink. I just like to feel shitty about myself." And I'm like, you know what? I think you're not alone. And that's a great term. And I'm going to use it. So here we
Yes.
are.
Yes.
So then going into the emotional body, there's neuro, and then linguistic, being what we say, what we think, and what we write.
Mm.
Yep. And those are words and stories. It's also the way that we breathe too, because the breath is the language of the body. And so for the words, I think of, because I had 13 years in personal training and online fitness.
Right.
So I use a lot of fitness references. So for example, there is the macronutrients, which is the carbs, fats, and proteins. These are the building blocks of the body. The quality of the macronutrients is going to influence the quality of the body. Better quality food, better quality body, shit quality food, shit quality body. Our words are the same way. Words are the ethereal macronutrients of the mind. When we feed our mind quality words, we're going to have quality thoughts. When we feed our mind shit words, we're going to have shit thoughts. So that goes to taking into account the content that we're consuming.
Yeah.
Because the quality of it's going to change it. And then for the breath, how the breath is the language of the body. When we're breathing high and tight, we're good to fight. When we're breathing low and slow, we're good to flow. And we could be in a state where we're just calm, cool. We're hanging around people that we're just chilling with. And then we notice that, oh, why am I breathing up into my chest? Oh, why is my heart rate increasing? Look around. I'm good. Yeah, I'm safe. So then you communicate with the body. We're good. We're safe. Breathe it in. Bring it down. So we can have a dialogue with our body through the breath.
Wow.
And then for somatic, that's of the body, and that's the physical body and the emotional body. The physical body is passive. It can function and heal on its own. You cut your finger, it's going to heal. Digestion, autonomic nervous system. The only part of our autonomic nervous system that we can influence is our lungs. I can't sit here and be like, hold on 2 minutes. Yeah, I totally stopped my heart for 2 minutes. Yeah. You guys slow it down? Maybe stop it? Unlikely. And then the emotional body requires active participation. And I believe that folks carry the narrative that the physical body is passive, so the emotional body is the same. And that's not true. Example of what that would look like is when someone is experiencing physiological symptoms while remembering a story from their childhood. Clearly, time did not do its thing if the narrative is that time heals all wounds.
Right.
BS. Cow, bovine excrement.
Yeah.
And so it requires active participation. It requires active participation of the processing of unmetabolized emotions. So that's where we're going top, down, and then experience is that it happens real time. It happens in the moment of.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I've saved some people some money on therapy.
I believe it.
It's pretty
I believe
sick.
it. That's incredible. Well, I appreciate you digging into that, and I'd love to know there are, again, so many nuggets that people can take away to improve their self-image, to decrease their people-pleasing tendencies. I'd love to know, as we wrap up today, is there a final thought or message that you would like to leave the audience with?
Absolutely. I'll go with my own personal mantra, and that's keep up the kindness.
Oh. Yeah. Keep up the kindness. I really
Yeah.
love that. And I wanted to share with individuals that I will be posting all of the links and everything to below. So individuals can get to know you, Kyle, and connect with you on all the social media platforms. And I understand you have a free giveaway, Become Transformed. Can you share a little bit about that?
That's still in the works right now. I'll put it on
Yay.
pause for right now.
Well, we'll link that when it's ready.
Perfect.
We'll link that when it's ready. But I'm so appreciative of your incredible energy today and all of the amazing nuggets that you shared. Kindness. Thank you for leaving us with such a wonderful message.
My pleasure. Can I share something on that note as well for keep up
Please,
the kindness?
please.
The reason, so when I say keep up the kindness, I don't think of kindness as a feeling. I don't think of kindness as an emotion, because something kindness is something that is recognized when it happens.
Mm.
When kindness happens, we see it and we're like, that was really kind. So kindness is a practice. There's a theme to my
Yes.
work, and it's about practice. It's about getting involved. And so kindness is that, it's getting involved, and then it's giving kindness. And what people often don't realize is the very thing they wish to receive is the very thing that they can give away first, and they're going
Mm,
to receive it. And it's
mm.
having that courage to keep up the kindness in order to open oneself to receive.
Oh, yes. Wow. Wow, Kyle. Thank you. And on that note, I'm inviting all of our listeners to embrace this practice of kindness and many of the other strategies that Kyle shared and connect with him with the links that I posted below. To all of our listeners, I want to thank you so much for tuning in yet again to Power to the People Pleasers. Please stay tuned for the next episode coming soon. Have an awesome day.